Would you look at that? If that isn't the next mod for the Corvette, I don't know what is. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. Thanks for pressing play. Today, as you saw there, right behind me, yeah, it's an Eventuri kind of day, which means the C8 Corvette Z06 is about to get a lot more power, a lot cooler looking, and actually some weight reduction too. Let's do it. All right, guys, so before we get started, obviously we need to unwrap the car. You can tell I have the cover just kind of thrown on there for the time being because I knew this was coming. And I cannot even begin to tell you how freaking excited I am for this. The Eventuri intake for the Z06 creates over 40 horsepower. It looks cool as heck. It's all carbon fiber for the most part, and it reduces a little bit of weight off the stock unit. You know how I love that. If we can check all of those boxes, it is a mod for this car. But anyway, guys, right here is a little bit of a better glimpse at what we're going to be doing today. And again, you can just, oh, the carbon fiber. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Eventuri red stripe. You can actually customize it with pretty much whatever color stripe you want now, it seems. But yeah, she's coming along. Anyway, that's the intake. We got a couple miscellaneous parts here as well that have to go in. So, like I said, let's get to it. But before we do, I want to make it clear, I am not going to be doing a how-to on this. I'm not going to show you how to install this. I'm just going to kind of check in from time to time as we're progressing through the install because Paragon Performance already did an install video on this, and they did such a fantastic job. I literally don't think I can do a better one. It's just gonna be my kind of reaction to this, and it's already looking good, because I mean, this thing is just incredible. If you guys haven't seen in there yet, there's actually red air filters in there. It's just so freaking awesome. So ultimately, one of the biggest questions I wanted to answer today, guys, is the Eventuri intake worth it? It is kind of expensive, but you really are getting something totally different with this intake, something that other intakes don't do. They don't check those same boxes. The biggest one, it's made of carbon fiber, totally carbon fiber, with a couple aluminum brackets. The other one is the power that it creates. 46 horsepower. I mean, what intake do you know that gains 46 horsepower? Now, this is also dyno proven. So again, is it worth it? On paper, it looks like it is, but I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not going to say yes or no until I get it installed, until I drive the car, until I feel the difference, until I see the difference. Because believe it or not, I have not seen one of these intakes in person. I've never experienced it in person. We're going to today. All right, so we're getting started now. What we had to do here is obviously take out the cargo net if you have that installed. We're gonna take out the cargo net screws, which you can actually see right there, and then the target top holders, which are 4 T15 Torx head screws holding in each side. So we'll pop those out and then pull the carpet out. The next step is to remove 19, yes, 19 T15 screws to remove that black plastic access panel. We're now into the actual airbox itself. We're going to remove the 2 couplers, one here and one here. There's 3 10mm screws and those should just slide right out. Correction. 4 10mm screws on each side of the couplers. With the 10mm screws out, you can just grab the coupler and literally pull it out. We're gonna go ahead and start the removal of the airbox itself. Down at the bottom left and bottom right, there is a T30 screw to remove. On top of that, we also have an air sensor of some kind. I think that was a temperature sensor. We have to unplug that. Once we get those off, there's the same T30s on the back side of the box, which are going to be really hard to even film. I'll show you once we get the box out. We then loosened up the couplers on the throttle body intake tubes, disconnected a couple mass airflow sensor type plugs on both tubes, and a temperature sensor on the bottom, some stuff off of the back as far as a wire harness is concerned, and then it's loose, so you can go ahead and just kind of pick it up, pull it out of there. All right, so now is when we take a minute to really talk about how difficult that was. I know on camera it doesn't look that bad, but trust me when I tell you, those rear T30 bolts, not easy to get to. Be prepared for that. Hopefully they're easy to go back in. We're gonna actually weigh the stock unit. Why not? Let's weigh it, see how much this thing's gonna weigh versus the carbon fiber one, which should, theoretically, weigh less.
Wow, we're way off.
19.1 pounds. So that's with all of the stock stuff still on it. We're going to weigh the new one the same way with all of the sensors and everything on it. So here it is. All of the sensors, all the parts, they're all on there. And believe it or not, we can see the scale from the side. It is still not registering anything. So this intake is under 10 pounds. So we shed at least 10 pounds, maybe more. I have no idea. Just picking it up, I'm guessing somewhere between 5 and 8 pounds this thing weighs, which is really, really, really awesome. All right, guys, so we have cut a hole in the carpet. You put the carpet back in, cut a hole. You can reach through that hole and trace the actual hole of the car. Then we're going to cut that more finely tuned and basically get the clear part in there so that you can see the beautiful intake while it's in there, because it would be a real shame to cover that up, that's for sure. So here the carpet is turned around, guys. This is the trace outline that you're going to want to follow, obviously. So what we're going to do next, based on what Paragon said, is take a roll of tape, put it right here, and ultimately we're going to round off these corners following a pretty nice size roll of tape just to give it that extra little bit of flair. So we're going to go ahead and cut that out after we roll those off, and then we're pretty much good to go. So once the carpet is cut, we're going to go ahead and put in the new silicone adapters here on the sides. So these are going to be a two-piece design. The plastic flange is what's getting screwed into the stock position. And then there's also a silicone coupler that will have to go on top of that. So they'll go in there with the stock 10mm screws we took out of the old ones. We got the brackets in place, everything bolted down. The wire harness is back in place as well in the back, pushed through all the bolt hole openings and everything. So the next step, we're actually going to go ahead and remove these silicone couplers we just put in on both sides, so we can then slide the intake in and put those couplers back in between the intake and those tubes. All right, so we are basically done at this point. We got everything in, tightened up. The thing's ready to go at this point. These things over on the sides were pretty difficult to get in. Just be mindful of that. If you're doing this yourselves, the Paragon Performance install video is pretty good to follow. This intake does not come with instructions, so that's probably the best way to get this done, is just follow that video. But ultimately, this thing is all in place. The screws were one thing that was a little bit of an issue. So you can see the screws here. We had 6 Allen head screws and only 2 actual 10mm bolts. And in the install video from Paragon, all of their bolts were 10mm with the exception of 2 of them being Allen head or something along those lines. Just be mindful of the fact that their kit was a pre-production model, so some of the bolts and stuff are different, but ultimately this is how I did it. I just put one of the 10mm there and one over here. Those were the only 2 that were actually included in the kit. The rest were the Allen head key screws. So lastly, we're going to take the clear plexiglass cover here and we're going to put the seal around it, pull off the protective layer, and then put the carpet in, and we're done. And here it is done, guys. We got all of the carpet cut, all of the trim put in, and yeah, that is looking really freaking good. Now, that's not where the awesomeness stops. No, like I said, this thing gains almost 50 horsepower. So we're going to be taking this car out tomorrow because it's dark now, and we're going to see exactly how much you can feel that extra 50. Now, 50 isn't exactly something you won't feel. This isn't 5 or 10 horsepower. It's 50. 50! And it looks that freaking good. Guys, huge thank you to Eventuri. Huge thank you to Paragon Performance. I got the number 10 out of 20 kit, and Corey was the guy over there that really hooked it all up. But at the same time, Eventuri as a company I've worked with a couple different times. They are awesome. They make awesome products. I mean, that thing is just gorgeous. But once again, guys, look at this thing. I can't get enough of it. It's just, it fits the craziness of the Z06 so well. And yeah, like I said, not an easy kit, not an easy thing to install. I mean, I shouldn't even say easy, as it is time consuming and nerve-wracking, because yes, you're cutting the carpet on your $160,000 car. It can get a little nerve-wracking, but guys, totally worth it. I love it. We're gonna skip from here to tomorrow, where you're gonna hear a cold start. Yeah, cold start. This car hasn't been started in about 4 months. So it's going to be the coldest of cold starts.
The next day.
All right, guys, it is the next day, and we are going to take the car, and we're going to head down to the Pittsburgh International Auto Show, because both of my cars, the C8 and the C7 CR1, will be there all weekend. So if you guys want to check out the cars, or you want to stop by and say hi, I'll be there Friday and Saturday. And yeah, come by and check out the cars, check out the booth. Blackout tinting is basically going to be the first floor, so come check us out. But for now, let's get a cold start of this beast, because yes, it has been 4 months since this car's been started, and now we have a brand new Eventuri intake on there. Let's do it. So first cold start, I forgot to hit record, But for those of you wondering, this car sat for about 4 months, and the anti-gravity battery had no problem starting it right up. Sounds pretty cool. About the same as usual. There's the intake. Everything running. Let's see how this thing sounds. We're back, baby. Yeah. Man, it feels good to be back in this car. So anyway, guys, as you can see, it's not super warm today, but we should be all right. We're not going too far. Like I said, we're heading down to the Pittsburgh International Auto Show. Everything was pretty good on the car. No check engine lights, no issue with the battery or anything. I know a couple of you out there asked me to do a cold start after the car sat for a couple months with the anti-gravity battery. I had my camera sitting there ready to capture it, but forgot to hit record. But there was no issues. The car started just fine. I'm not getting any check engine lights. Nothing to report here. So the car sat, like I said, for about 4 months without being on a battery tender, so all good. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and take it for a drive, and yeah, let's see what that cold air intake's all about.
5 minutes later.
So we are driving down to the Pittsburgh International Auto Show. We're behind Aaron up there in his Camaro ZL11LE, stealth wrapped. Thing looks freaking nuts. But yeah, I wanted to comment on the intake here, guys. So I'm noticing the biggest difference in third gear. If I put it in third gear and then just smash the throttle, it feels like there's endless torque. And like, it almost feels like a turbocharged car with the power coming on just a little bit earlier than it used to. I start to feel the torque more at like 3,500 to 4,000 RPM when it used to be like 6,000 RPM. So this intake's definitely the real deal. But yeah, guys, I'm loving driving the car. It's 40 degrees outside, which isn't super warm, but there's no salt on the roads or anything because of how much rain we've had recently, so I'll take it. But like I said, come down to the auto show, check out the cars. You can see Aaron's stealth wrapped Camaro ZL11LE too if you're interested in that sort of thing. But both of my Corvettes will be there, and you'll get to see the new Eventuri intake. But yeah, guys, this thing, just listen to this. Oh God, it feels like it's a different car. This intake is just so freaking nuts. I've never in my life seen an intake that does what this thing does. And the thing is that they claim that it does, and the claims are real. The dyno sheets literally prove it. So, I don't know. I love it. I love it. It looks awesome. It functions awesomely. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. I'm lost for words. But yeah, of course, that had to happen. A bird literally exploded in a tree above me. Just had to get it on the car. Why not? It's been perfectly clean up until this point. Ugh. God. And we're about to go through the Pittsburgh Tunnel, Squirrel Hill Tunnel. So we'll roll down the window. Here we go. Good God, this thing sounds nuts. Gotta love this thing. The Z06 is just crazy. You add the AWE exhaust and the Eventuri intake, and this thing is just freaking nuts. That's with the windows up. This car is just too much. Check that thing out. That is looking good. Aaron's got that ZL11LE set up nice. Oof. So guys, fun fact. Down here at the International Auto Show is actually where the release trailer for the Z06 was filmed. So yeah, all this area should look very familiar to you guys. We have arrived. So yeah, like I said, guys, this intake, I'm digging it, but of course I just love the car in general. Look at that thing. Looking good. All right, guys, so like I said, we are here at the Pittsburgh International Auto Show. Come down, check out the cars, because they look really good under this light. I don't know what it is. The LED light always makes that clean black car look really freaking awesome. I mean, yeah, look at that. So freaking nice. And then, of course, this video is about the intake, I know, but I can't help it. It's just such a beautiful thing. So, again, this thing produces the extra horsepower, looks really awesome, of course, and yeah, it felt different in third gear, especially at third gear around 3,000, 3,500 RPM. It felt like it had a lot more torque than it usually would. So yeah, Big thumbs up from me. Check out the link in the description down below if you want to grab one for yourself. And then of course we got Aaron's stealth wrapped Camaro here. So if any of you out there are Camaro guys, you can appreciate these things. I used to have a Camaro ZL1, not a 6th gen, it was a 5th gen, but gotta love that stealth wrap. Looks really, really good. Just a mean looking car. But anyway guys, that is gonna do it for today's video. So in the beginning I asked, is this intake worth it? It's worth it. Just the look alone, it's worth it. So with the added power, with the added drivability, the looks, the weight savings, which isn't even really an advertised thing, yeah, it's worth it. Like I said, check it out in the link down below if you're interested in grabbing one for yourself. But that's it for this video. So if you liked what you saw, smash the thumbs up button. Let me know you're liking the content, and we'll continue to produce this kind of stuff. I'm, of course, going to be making some videos here at the Pittsburgh International Auto Show, so stay tuned for those, but that will be coming at a later date. So subscribe if you haven't, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.